Hello, and welcome to the latest episode of the Low Budget Review Show. I am your host, Eric Smith, and today I'm talking about Slash Her, an anthology of women in horror, edited by Janine Pipe and Jill Girardi from Kandisha Press, with a cover by Gemma Amor. As it says, this is an anthology, all female authors, female editors, and 21 stories. It also has is it a forward or an introduction? Forward by the Sisters of Slaughter. And right off the bat, like any anthology, it's a mixed bag of stories, although in this case, they range from good to really, really, really good. I don't think there's a bad one in the bunch. Some of the authors in here, or maybe all of them, I don't know. We'll see how many I read from the table of contents. You've got Sarah Budd, Summer Cannon, Holly Ray Garcia, Laurel Hightower, Kenzie Jennings, Red Lago, Villamy Mist, Brianna Morgan, Cynthia Paleo, Stephanie Rabig, Ali C., Antonia Rachel Ward. I apologize to anyone that I skipped. It was just relatively random. So this is all stories of violence, of course, women and violence. For the most part, all of the killers are women. There's a couple, I think, where the killers are men, but women are all our protagonists, most often also the antagonists, and excuse me, there's stories of revenge, stories of just crazy killers, weird stories. There's stories with a supernatural element. There's stories that are just straight up human psychos. A nice mixed bag. And just again, I'm going to turn to the table of contents. Summer Cannon's story, You're Dying Up There. One of my favorites. I really enjoyed it. And it's about someone who is killing people at an open mic night at the Beat and Bean. So it's a coffee shop, and they have like beatnik poetry and stuff, and someone is killing the performers. Let's see. How to Pose the Dead by Holly Ray Garcia. Really good. I don't want to really say anything about it because it could give things away, but it has to do with a photographer, professional photographer. Hooking Up, Laurel Hightower. Fantastic story. One of my favorites. Sort of delves into urban legends a little bit and some crazy stuff. Again, I mean, they all get into crazy stuff. Predator, Sarah Jane Huntington. Really good one. The Collector. Hashtag The Vacationers by Kenzie Jennings. I'm always happy to read anything by Kenzie Jennings. And it's a good story with some twists and turns. Pro Knife. I love that title. That one's Vivian Casley. Not sure about the pronunciation. Legend of the Nameless Island, Red Lago, another great one. These are all just fantastic authors. I have books and things by many of them. Some of them are on my list now to pick up some of their books. Let's see. Camp Harmony, a nice camp slasher in the vein of, well, not in the vein of Friday the 13th, but any killer set at a summer camp is going to sort of evoke that or Sleepaway Camp. Tupperware Party, Villamy Mist. Great story. Christine Morgan, The Toe Scene, extract from the Murder Girls. It's very much an extract. We get it's leaves a lot to the imagination. Doesn't answer really any questions, but it's a well written, interesting story. The Butcher on Blue Jay Way, The Butcher on Blue Jay Way, Haley Newland. I'm just sitting here reading the table of contents to you. But Cynthia Palaio's I Hate Slashers. Really, really interesting story. And it's the narrator is talking to a group of people, a Zoom meeting, if you will. And this is basically what she's talking about is our story. And it's fun. I like it a lot. Excuse me. A Helping Hand from Peter Pan, Stephanie Rabick's story. Really, really good. Happy to read more from her. All right, I'm not going to keep going through, just reading that. So yeah, these, as I said, it's a mixed bag, but everything starts at good. They're all good stories, and they just get, it's good story, really good story. Little better than good story. Fantastic story. Really good story. This one's good. This one's fantastic. You know what I'm saying? Again, it's an anthology. It's typical of any anthology. I have yet to find one, I think, that's just like every story is just the best. So really, what else is there to say? It's Kandisha Press. I think this is their 5th anthology. In the back, it has a list of their other books. I have, yes, Women of Horror Anthology Volume 1 is Under Her Black Wings. I have that one. And let's see, there's Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4. So this is their 5th. And they're all, just all female authors. I don't know if all the other ones are themed the way this one is, but I love Janine Pipe. She's fantastic. She's a great author, wonderful person. I don't know Jill Girardi really, but I love what they're doing with their press, and they're giving us some great stories by some great writers. I gave this 4 out of 5 on Goodreads because, again, mixed bag, although all good and better, but if 5 is their highest rating, so every story would have to be a banger, as the kids say, for it to get a 5. And I hate the rating system, but and it's got a blurb from Barbara Crampton. How can you go wrong? And one from Stephen Graham Jones on the back. Highly recommended if you're into short stories, if you want to support Women in Horror. This is March, which is Women in Horror Month. It was changed this year from February to March. So, perfect time to pick this up. Although, yeah, it'll still be March when this goes up on YouTube. So, yeah, it was a little rambly. It's always tough for me to review short story collections. I never know how much to say about each story. But there you go. Slash Her, an anthology of women in horror. I'll tell you, this is highly anticipated. It was announced, some of the authors were invited to it, and then there was an open call so people could submit, and got to follow sort of the growth of the book on Twitter. And it's one that I was waiting for from the time it was announced, and then once they were announcing some of the people that were going to be in it. And again, it's a Janine Pipe project. And I'm a huge fan of hers. She's a great writer, reviewer. She's got some great stuff coming out, which you will hear about next week. Yes, at the time this airs, you will hear about her big project next week on my episode of My Favorite Horror With, because Janine is my guest. So yeah, support Kandisha, support Women in Horror, read a great anthology of great slasher stories. But these are all original. There's no Freddy, no Michael, no anybody from movies or anything else. Just so you know. And yeah, I guess that's all I have to say about that. So, And yeah, I'll have links for it, in the description. If you have any comments, questions, or corrections, please put them in the comments below. Comments are open for spoilers. Just post spoiler warning. We try to be polite here at the Low Budget Review Show. Please like, share, and subscribe. All that YouTube stuff. I feel like I'm forgetting something. If you care to follow me on other social media, my Twitter is @Ronin5757. My Instagram, where I post pictures of books, comic books, board games, and fuzzy animals, is EricSmith5757. That's Eric with a K. ERIKSMITH 5757. That's all I've got. This has been the Low Budget Review Show. I have been Eric Smith, and until next time, read more books.